Hey guys, it's Rachel. Welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be doing something a little bit different, and I'm going to be showing you guys a tutorial on a couple of different ways to build a garage in The Sims 4. There are a ton of ways to build a garage in this game, but I'm just going to be showing you two of my favorite ways to do it. Both of the ways I'm going to show you today use mostly base game items, but you could totally make it all base game if you want or need to. I just ended up using the columns and shelves from Get Together along with some base game items. And the first way I'm going to show you is just a simple ground level garage without a foundation. And the second way is how to make a garage that is on a foundation look like it's not on a foundation without using any sort of terrain manipulation. And of course, neither of these garages are actually going to be functional since we don't have functional cars in this game yet, but we do have a handful of life-size decorative cars in the debug menu, and I'll be showing you how to find those in just a moment. Before we get started, I just want to mention that if you like this video and find it helpful, I would really appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more of my speed builds and tutorials here on YouTube, please consider supporting me and subscribing to my channel. With that, let's get started. So first things first, you want to turn on your cheats. If you're playing on PC, type in Ctrl-Shift-C to bring up the cheats menu, or if you're on Mac, do Command-Shift-C to get the cheats menu. And then you want to type in testing cheats on or testing cheats true. Either one will work and they do the same thing. And then type in bb.moveObjectsOn. I'm also putting all of these cheats in text form on the screen if that's easier for you to follow along to. And then the next step is to type in bb.showHiddenObjects followed by bb.showLiveEditObjects. And then finally go to the search bar in the build by menu and type in debug and click on any one of the debug results that pop up. The life-size decorative cards that I mentioned earlier are found in the debug menu, as well as one of the objects I'll be using as a garage door wallpaper in the second method. So if you want to use those items, you will need these cheats. And as you can see, I've pulled some of the debug cards to show you the different kinds of cars we have in the game. And I believe that most, if not all of the debug cars are base game, which is really cool. But we're going to move on to how to make a simple ground level garage in just a moment. And to recap, I'm going to write up all the cheats you need on the screen, so get ready to pause if you think that'll be helpful. The most popular way I've seen to make a garage in The Sims 4 is probably this way I'm about to show you, and it's super easy. First, you want to make a room that's at least 5 tiles wide if you just want to make a one-car garage. Depending on your car, your garage can have a couple of different depths. I'm going to be using this truck, which is the biggest car in the game. All of the cars are 3 tiles wide, but some of them are a little bit longer than others. But for this truck, I made my room 8 tiles deep so that the truck fits comfortably inside. I also went ahead and gave it a brick wallpaper on the outside. The next thing we want to do is add a roof, and you can add whichever roof shape you want, but I personally think either the gabled roof or the half gabled roof like this with the side that has the exposed wall facing the front of the garage looks the best for this particular method of building a garage. And then after we place the roof, we want to go to the build menu and place down this flat square piece so that it's centered at the front of the garage like this. And then we're going to go to the exterior trim menu here and select the jutting exterior trim and apply it to the flat square piece that we just placed. And this new horizontal white piece that we've just created is going to be the top of the garage door. Next, we're going to grab some of these small rectangular light box windows and put them in the 3 spaces underneath the trim. And then we're going to get some white siding wallpaper to create the illusion of a garage door. The colonial cabin siding here works really well for this part, and we're just going to use it on the part of this wall with the windows. And then the last step for this method is to grab some columns and place them on either side of the garage door. I think that the skinny square pillars from Get Together work the best for this, but the big square base game columns also work fine if you don't have Get Together, and it's really that simple. Like I said, this way of making a garage in the game seems to be the most popular way, and I've seen it in a ton of builds from other simmers, but it's definitely popular for a reason, and that's because it's super easy to do and looks really good. Also, if you want to have a 2-car garage, you can just copy the room and place it so that it overlaps with the original room like this. And then all you have to do is fix the roof and copy the trim to complete the second garage. Alright, so the second method is dedicated to making a garage that's on a foundation look like it's resting on the ground. This is the best solution I found for a problem that I run into very often, and the problem is that if the rest of your house is on a foundation, there's no good way to have a garage that's attached to the rest of the house not be on a foundation. And my problem with this is that it looks really weird from the outside to have your garage on a foundation like this, because theoretically, how would the cars get inside the garage? It used to drive me crazy that I didn't have a good fix to this, but I recently found a really good solution and I wanted to share it. So for this method, we just want to make a room that's at least 6 tiles wide, and I made it 8 tiles deep again. I've also applied a brick wallpaper to all the exterior walls and placed a gabled roof, but you can use whichever roof you want because I find that this works well with pretty much all of the roof shapes. I also raised the house so that it's on a foundation, and we want to make sure that we have one of the flat foundations and not one of the ones that have the piece at the top that kind of sticks out a little bit like these ones over here. We want a flat foundation like this one, this white one that I'm using here, and then we can place these light box windows again across the 4 spots in the middle of the wall. Then we want to use the basement tool to draw a basement that's 1 tile bigger on all sides than the garage we've created. And the reason for making the basement slightly bigger than the garage is that if you make it the same size, this happens. So we want the basement to be slightly bigger so we don't have to deal with that. And then go down to the basement level and use the basement tool again to draw another basement under your first one. And then delete your first basement so that you just have an inaccessible basement 2 floors down. The reason I'm only keeping the basement that's 2 floors down is that if you keep the basement that's 1 floor down instead, you get a weird shadow on the rest of the objects that we're about to place inside the room, because then they're technically indoors. It's a little bit hard to explain and I'm not going to show it on the screen, but if you want to experiment around with it in your game and just make a basement 1 floor down, you'll see what I mean. It just doesn't work as well. But anyways, we're going to go down to the basement level and make a wall 1 tile from the front of the basement and grab the wide entry frame door and place it on the wall we just drew. Then we're going to size it up once using the square closing bracket and raise the door with the 9 key so that the top of the door is just above the windows we placed earlier. This might take a couple of tries, but once you get it in the right spot, it'll look like a garage door that cuts through the foundation of the room. And by the way, I'm going through all this trouble to use this door instead of columns because columns can't go through foundations, so you can't get as seamless of a look with columns if you have a garage on a foundation. But anyways, to finish this garage up, we can use a base game debug object called large painting, and you can find this object easily just by typing large painting into the search bar. Go back down to the basement level, grab the painting, size it up once using the square closing bracket again, and raise it with a 9 key so that the top of the painting meets the bottom of the garage windows. Similar to what we did with the door earlier, this might take a couple of tries, but once you have the first painting down, the rest are much easier because then you can use the first painting as a reference point for how high you want to place the paintings. And when this is all done, the garage door should look like it starts from the ground rather than the foundation height. And the last thing we want to do is add some shelves to the garage door to give it some detail and dimension. I used the shelf that came with Get Together and sized them down once and placed a bunch of them next to each other to get this effect. And I think it looks really nice and realistic, but any of the shelves, even the base game ones, look okay for this effect. And then finally, to hide the foundation around the rest of the garage, we can just place these square starter bushes around the perimeter of the room. Thank you guys so much for watching this tutorial on how to make a garage in The Sims 4. I am happily accepting tutorial requests right now, so if there's anything you'd like to see a tutorial on, please leave that in the comment section below. And as always, please give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful and subscribe to my channel for more tutorials and speed builds. See you next time!